He's traveling now, so he doesn't really get. En Francisco anda en España, que es Spain. Yeah. Because I see pictures of one day, and I'm sure that is that.
Oh, yeah.
And then realize.
Everybody deep breath in and out. Okay. I call to order this open session of the National School District Governing Board. Would you please stand with us for the Pledge of Allegiance? Place your hand over your heart. Ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Will you please call roll?
Ms. Enrico, present. Ms. Ábalos, present. Ms. Director Pinero, present. Ms. Lozada,
Present.
Present. All right, at this time, we are looking at item 5, which is presentations. And we are going to start with item 5A I'm sorry. I had a few things first, didn't I? This week, our community lost a very invested person. And we did not want to let our meeting go by without acknowledging Mr. Alvarado and his faithfulness to National City. He has our greatest respect and thanks for his investment in this community, for the dedication of time, for the commitment of effort. Over the years, he was a personal friend to some, and respected by many. We want to thank his family as well for the fact that they shared him with us for such a long time. So we did want to have a moment of silence as we acknowledge his importance to National City, to our community, and the legacy that Mr. Alvarado has left behind. So if you will give us just a moment, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I cannot have that tape. I also have a report out that I'm supposed to give from our closed session. And in the rush to get in here and tell you all that we would start in just a moment. I left my paperwork in the other room, so I apologize. I'm going to see if it's still there or if our lawyer took it with her. Thank you.
In elementary school, she was on board. Because that was okay. No.
So our lawyer is going to email that to me, and I will share that with you later. Thank you very much for your patience with us. So I will move forward with presentations. Item 5A, we would like to recognize Justin Finch, Computer Systems Specialist at the District Office, as the National School District Employee of the Month for June 2024. Dr. Kraft and Mr. Justin Finch.
See, told you.
It is my honor to recognize Mr. Finch this evening. I've had the honor and pleasure of knowing him for the last 6 years, and I have thoroughly benefited and enjoyed from his brilliant tech mind. He is instrumental. See, you got more fans. He's instrumental to the, not just to the Education Services Department, he's instrumental to the entire district. For all the things he does, tech, the infrastructure. Sometimes he's speaking, I don't understand him. But he's always positive and happy and kind, and always has a solution no matter what you ask him, and always willing to help. And I just believe so much in him. And I'm just very, very grateful that we are taking the moment to honor Mr. Finch.
Thank you, everyone. You know, this isn't me.
I had to warn
I
him.
know. But first and foremost, I want to thank the tech team. You know, without them, I couldn't do what I do. And thank everybody else from the executive board to the board members, that executive cabinet board members. I'm more nervous than I've been up here before. But I don't like talking about me. But thank you for your willingness and openness to supporting us in technology and everything that we do and that I do. So thank you all.
Yes.
I didn't mention not so long ago, remember we saw each other like I said, who is this boy? He's always behind the scenes doing something. But thank you for what you do, and I know I've been here a while ago. You have like little fans here, including myself. And this is for you on behalf of the board. It's a little petition to put on. And I know you don't write too much, you talk a lot, but save it as an honor for you. So you can remember that we all appreciate what you do, and we cannot move forward without you. So thank you so much for what you do. Okay.
Thank you all.
Yes.
My other favorite.
Oh, I know. Warn him about that too.
Memorable time.
There are. And that's the good stuff.
Ready?
That's behind the scenes.
All right. Thank you so much, Justin. I don't even know how long I've known him. Right now, I feel like he's just always been here when I've been here. He's one of those people for me. Item 5B is the recognition of South County, California Association of Bilingual Educators. We have a group from CABE here, our CABE group, and we are very excited that you are here. We went to the governing board, all of us, we want to thank you as the organizers of the San Diego, South County, California Association of Bilingual Administrators, Chapter 65. Each fall, they host a Region 4 annual mini conference and breakfast to train parents and to fundraise for high school student scholarships. In the spring, they provide a pathway to biliteracy recognition for bilingual 6th graders. And the National School District Board wants to recognize the following people for organizing the CABE South County Conference. So we're going to ask you to come up front and do the whole display thing. And we actually asking Mrs. Betancourt Castañeda, trustee Betancourt Castañeda, to welcome you and speak as well. So we have Berta Lopez, who's a retired National School District. We have Magda Maldonado. Who used to teach with our own Dr. Kevin. We have Lisa Sanaya, who used to teach me. She was South Bay Union's ELD coordinator and trainer for all of the teaching staff up until last year. So, and then she retired on us.
And she was also a student at Kimball Elementary. Actually, I was a kindergarten teacher when I came into National School District, and she was a sixth grader.
Yeah, I went to Kimball, and then we moved from west to east, and I went to Lincoln Acres and then Las Palmas, and then the bilingual program opened up in Kimball, so we got bused to, my parents wanted us to be in the bilingual program. Went to Granger, graduated from Sweetwater.
I've worked with you for a dozen years, and I did not know that. That's a shame. We have Linda Vasquez, who is at Kimball. Yes, there used to be a trial at Kimball.
Which was my son's sixth grade teacher.
And Daisy Cortez. So thank you for spotlighting our multilingual learners and our families.
And I just wanted to say thank you for this group. I've been able to help just a little bit, but when I would go, they were always hustling from the night before that I got to see, but this is something that they would do months and months and months before, right?
Yes.
But they are always making sure that our students were always part of the program. So if our students were not being recognized, I would constantly get a call or a text, hey, why are not our students not part of the program, to ensure that our students are recognized. So I just wanted to ensure that we recognize this group, because they are always grateful to acknowledge our students. They are hardworking, constant support of our students, and not just our students, South County students, but they work tirelessly, hours after hours, to ensure that our students are very well supported. And if you have not been there to be a part of the program, I encourage you to go, because it's not just something that you just go and get the students recognized. It's an enormous amount of support for our students, for the program, and it's something that the students is a well-deserved recognition. So thank you so much for you guys,
Thank you
for what you guys do.
Thank you.
And please, when you guys talk about balloons, join me. Please, so.
And I just want to say, just very briefly, without a supportive governing board and administrators, our program doesn't function either. So our mini conference is a no-go if we don't have the support of you all. And I know I've seen most of you at our conferences, so we're going to invite you again. It's always the first Saturday in November, and we will be putting out a save the date. I believe it is the 4th. I think it's November 4th. It's a Saturday. And very eloquently stated, this conference is not just for parents. We've started to include a lot more educational, especially for our students, our English language learners that need a lot of our support. I want to thank National School District, because you have been supporting our students as English learners, and you see it as a positive asset to have Spanish or any other, whether it's Tagalog, any other language, you see it as a support. You don't see it as a negative. And so we want to thank you, because you've supported GABE throughout all these years. The one thing we have as our goal for this coming year is to have I don't know if any of you remember, but we used to have a senior scholarship breakfast where we would honor a sixth grader from each school. Ever since COVID, we haven't had the support that we've had before in terms of parent, teacher, administrator turnout to our conferences. As soon as we do, we will initiate it, because you don't know how many of the high school seniors that we give the $1,000 to. They come up and they tell us, we received the $50 when we were sixth graders. We're like, what? Yes. So it keeps them going. So again, we want to thank the governing board, all the administrators for supporting us as well. Thank you. It's a great honor.
A photo.
We believe in pictures.
Can't you see how much sixth graders?
I know.
It's good for a website.
Yay. Ahora en español.
Muchas gracias a la mesa directiva por todo su apoyo.
Gracias.
Que sin ustedes nada es posible.
Eso, muy bien, gracias.
Erika, también gracias. Muchas gracias.
Salamat.
And just on another note, Mr. Alvarado was married to Rosalie Alvarado, who was on the school board. You know, I was here for 40 years, so I think I'm the only one that remembers, you know. But she was on the school board back in the 70s. So she was also, she's a pillar of this community, and the daughter-in-law taught at Central Elementary. So they do have a history here in National City. Being back in National City just brings me joy, to be honest with you. This is my second home, and I keep coming back to visit a lot of my parents because I do get offers to come and have dinner. So, you know, they know I love to eat. But, you know, it's just another way of just reacquainting with a lot of my parents and also students. Today, in fact, I had a TK student back so many years ago. She just graduated from Sweetwater High. And she asked me to go with her to go and help her enroll at Grossmont College. So I was very happy to do that. And we still keep in touch with her. And when we were coming back, I just said, you know, you need to come back and make sure that you give to your community because this is where you've lived throughout your whole life. So she says, I know, Ms. Lopez, I know. So Natalia, who also has helped us in South County. Thank you very much for giving us this recognition. We're very proud. It's a lot of work. And we always find ourselves asking, why do we do this? Because of our kids.
Yeah.
Because of the compassion, the dedication that we have for children. Thank you so much.
As a sixth grade teacher, so I moved to eighth grade, but while I was in sixth grade, we all part of this, you know, the end of the year was always selecting our CAVE awardee. And actually my letter of, hey, you need to select your CAVE awardee always came from Lisa Salaya. And then we'd sit there and sit down and discuss and okay, who's showing these strengths? Who has made this growth and these leaps, and who still honors their family and their home in the language they're speaking there, but also the English that we require in school, who is doing all of that. And it always seemed to take the kids by surprise.
Yes.
That they were being honored for that.
Yes.
And it matters.
Yes.
It matters what you're doing, and we're thankful for you.
Thank you. And we're gonna sneak out because we have another function to go to. Thank you.
All right, item 5C is to introduce and welcome new employees. Dr. Kevin.
Our two new employees could not make it tonight, but I have the pleasure of introducing Ashley Rodriguez, who's our Child Nutrition Services Assistant at El Toyon School. Ms. Rodriguez is currently a substitute in the Child Nutrition Services Department, and she holds an associate's degree in criminal justice from Southwestern. So welcome, Ashley. Our next new employee is Jade Beckvanags. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Ms. Beckvanags, she's speech and language pathologist. She has over 4 years of experience as a speech and language pathologist in public schools. She holds a bachelor's degree in speech and hearing science and speech language pathology from the University of Illinois and a master's in speech language pathology from California Baptist University. Welcome, Jay, to National School District, and welcome Ashley and Jay to the panel.
All right, so, I have our agreement statement from closed session. I will read it at this time. By a unanimous vote, the board took action during closed session to approve the settlement of a potential grievance into TK staffing by compensating teachers whose classrooms exceeded a 20-to-1 ratio during this past school year. Thank you. All right, I have item 6, public communications. Public communication provides the public with an opportunity to address the board regarding an item on the agenda or other topic. Anyone wishing to address the board shall submit a request for oral communications card. Cards are available near the entrance to the boardroom and are to be submitted to the recording secretary. A member of the public who wishes to address the board on any such matter is limited to 3 minutes for one matter, up to a maximum of 5 minutes for all closed and open session matters. There shall be a limit of 20 minutes for any matter unless such time limit is waived by a majority vote of the board. Members of the public may not yield any time to other speakers. No board action can be taken. Do we have any speakers? No. Thank you. Item 7 is the agenda, and 7A, I do have a request to put to the board. Staff has requested for the agenda that we pull items 10A and 12A. There has been a clarification from the San Diego County of Education regarding new 2024 public hearing requirements for those pieces. So they're requesting that we pull them at this time to be presented at a later meeting. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda, pulling 10A and 12?
Motion to approve with the items 10A and 12A to be pulled.
I second the motion.
Any questions at this time? All right, we have a motion by trustee Bettencourt Castaneda to accept the agenda with pulling items 10A and 12A. A second by trustee Avalos. Please vote. Okay, item 8 is to approve consent agenda and routine items of business. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and will be acted upon in one action by the board. It is understood that the superintendent has recommended approval for these items. There will be no discussion prior to the time the board votes on the motion unless members of the board, staff, or public request specific items to be discussed and or removed from the consent agenda. All items approved by the board will be deemed considered in full and adopted as recommended. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
I second the motion.
Any questions? Then I have a motion to approve by trustee Bettencourt Castaneda and a second by trustee Avalos. Please vote. Item 9, general functions. 9A is to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting held on May 22nd, 2024.
Move to approve. I second the motion.
Thank you. All right. Any questions? I have a motion to approve by trustee Samriento and a second by trustee Avalos. Please vote.
President Gates, question. I was not present today. Should I abstain to the vote?
Yes.
And just to clarify, thank you.
Thank you.
Item passes 4 yes, 1 abstain.
All right, item 9B, sorry. To approve out-of-state travel for Dr. Leandra Brady and Dr. Maritza Keppen to attend a TED Ed student talk in Washington, DC.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Okay. Dr. Brady?
Well, as the board is aware from our weekly update, one of our 6th grade students is one of 5 students in the continental United States selected to travel to Washington, D.C. To present her TED Talk to legislators on Capitol Hill. There will be 5 additional students from Puerto Rico, and we've had a sister school relationship with a school in Puerto Rico, and so our student will be able to meet the student that was selected from their school as well. So we're super excited. For this item, there has been some confusion on what ALAS is going to pay for and what the school district would need to pay for. And as you know, we got a $5,000 grant from ALAS for our sister school partnership. And we want to use use some of that for our teachers to go to Puerto Rico to work with our sister school. And we want to use the rest of it to help Luna have both of her parents attend. ALAS is paying for the accommodations, and we're just not sure if they're paying for all of the flights. So we would like to use the remainder of the grant, which is about $1,500. But we think that the amount that we put in this item may be a little low if we need to kick in a little extra to get everybody there. We'll use the grant money first on the parents because we want to be able to use school funds on that. But then we would ask for, Dr. Kraft has some travel and conference money that we would use for either Luna and us or just the staff to attend. So it's a little different than it's written because there's been some communication back and forth, and we're clarifying tomorrow. But for this item, we'd like to request the approval of out-of-state travel with an increase not to exceed $4,000 instead of $3,000, if the board would consider that.
Dr. Brady, both parents are confirmed that they're going with the student?
Yes, both parents came and met with us, and they're super excited, and we couldn't say no. Alice invited one parent, and both parents asked to go, and we would like to support that with the grant money.
So the maker of the motion and the second has to agree to increase the amount to 4,000.
We don't anticipate it'll be 4,000. We just don't want to inadvertently go over 3,000 and not have enough.
Okay. So trustee DeSatica, are you willing to amend to not to exceed 4,000?
Yes, I do.
Trustee
Second agrees.
Thank you. Any other questions? Is there a way to clarify that in notes? Yes,
Increase to 3,000 to 4,000.
Thank you. All right. All right, I have a motion to approve with the amended amount of not to exceed 4,000 from trustee DeSatica and a second by trustee Sarmiento. Please vote. Item 10 is educational services. 10A is pulled. Item 10B is to adopt the 2023-2024 Title I Parent and Family Engagement Policy for National School District. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Dr. Kraft.
This is a requirement for any schools receiving federal categorical funding, specifically titles. In particular, I wanted to clarify that although it says policy, it is a Title I policy, not a board policy, although the language can be confusing. I just wanted to speak to that and make sure it's clear.
Do we have any questions? I have a motion to adopt by trustee Bettencourt Castellaneta, was the second by trustee Sarmiento. Please vote.
Madam President,
Item 10C, to approve purchase of Summit K-12 for Connect to Literacy English Language Development Digital Subscription. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
A second.
Trustee, sorry, Dr. Kraft.
I would just like to remind the board that we had brought this for teachers to share. We're looking at 3rd through 6th grade teachers using it so that we can better support them in meeting the LPAC score that they would need to meet for reclassification. It's really designed to align to that with older students. So we will be doing this in lieu of the Lexia English, which lends itself better to our younger students.
Any questions? I will throw, after. I have a motion to approve by trustee Avalos and a second by trustee Bettencourt Castellaneta. Please vote.
Madam President,
Dr. Kraft, just as an aside, as a teacher of our older group students, I appreciate the district's intentionality in acknowledging the difference needed in honoring our older kids as they work to add English as a skill set and a knowledge base. Sometimes the programs that are out there don't differentiate well between the younger students and the older ones. And so our older ones end up feeling a bit insulted because they have a lot more academic knowledge and growth and maturity, and not all of the programs do that. So I hope that this all encourages that level of respect for them. Thank you for looking at that separately. Anyway. Item 10D, to approve purchase of Step Up to Writing subscription.
Motion to approve?
I second the motion.
All right. Dr. Kraft?
Yes, as we went out and conducted our annual LCAP survey, many of the teachers expressed a desire for a more structured supplemental writing program, and it came on the tails of our science adoption, which has a heavy push on writing, informational writing. So we will be providing that training to our teachers over the fall, but they'll still have access to the other text types that are in there. So, and it's also, what I'm pleased about this program, it was designed by a teacher who was a ed specialist, and so who worked with a large group of English learners. So it's really well designed in terms of access for our students.
Any questions? All right, I have a motion to approve by trustee Bettencourt Castellaneta and a second by trustee Avalos. Please vote.
Madam President,
Item 10E is to approve the purchase of Next Gen Math subscription. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
I second the motion.
Dr. Kraft?
Again, this was another pilot program that we are looking, heavier implementation for our upgrade students. The math gets more complex, and when they are tested on the SBAC, it allows them to experience the same type of testing environment and language and approaches to math. So we think that this would be helpful for them.
Trustee Lizarraga?
Yeah, this is just a clarification question. I don't want to assume because I wanted you to say publicly too.
Mhm.
And I'm assuming that this is in support of, that there's a committee that suggested all those, programs, right? And I'm assuming this will be in support of the academic loss that will be up in the last couple of years. So that will be, of course, expected results with this purchases that will be being approved, right?
Yeah, we brought it to a consultation committee, discussed it, we piloted it this last fall, brought to consultation committee. It is a supplemental or adopted math program. is Go Math, but teachers find that they need multiple resources to reach and differentiate for our students. So this is a very strong resource and we got good feedback from.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, I have a motion to approve by trustee Bettencourt Castaneda, second by trustee Avalos. Please vote. Item 10F, to approve CT 4180 with Gigacom for maintenance program and support for our network operations. Do I have a motion?
So moved. I second.
Dr. Kraft?
Mr. Finch?
Do you want me to come to the podium?
Yes, please.
You got that award. Yes.
You don't have to like the microphone.
There he is.
Hello again. It is something I could talk about technology all day long.
Don't be nervous.
This contract basically was on the annual renewal, but because of our ability to utilize E-rate funding, we saved money and combined it, the two contracts. And so this covers our network hardware, our network monitoring, and a couple of other things.
Okay.
Any questions?
I do have a question,
Yes.
Mr. Finch. We've been speaking about cybersecurity, so this is something related to?
Yes, this actually helps us quite a bit with cybersecurity, network engineering services that help us enhance cybersecurity.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr.
Okay,
Lynch.
thank you.
All right, I have a motion to approve contract 4180 by trustee Sarmiento and a second by trustee Avalos. Please vote. Item 10G is to approve CT 4182 with Learning Genie Incorporated for software subscription and professional learning. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second.
Dr. Kraft?
It's that time of the year pet services is heavy on my board item. This is a very nice aspect for our preschool teachers. It should streamline and alleviate some of the services that they have to do to meet under state requirement for preschool. They are required to give the DRDP to our preschool students, and online will make it more efficient, easier, and tally it up. And so we're hoping that this will be an added help for our preschool teachers.
Questions? All right, a motion to approve contract 4182 from trustee Bettencourt Castaneda with a second by trustee Sarmiento. Please vote. Item 10H to approve CT 4183 with learner-centered collaborative. Do I have a motion?
So moved. I second.
Okay. Dr. Kraft?
Yes, so I wanted to clarify that National School District is in receipt of 2 community school grants. One community grant comes from the federal government that we are engaged with National University. Prior to receiving that grant, we had applied to the state for a planning grant for the state-funded community grants. We did receive the planning grant, and there are deliverables that are associated, as you see in the board item, for that planning grant. We know that there's some uncertainty right now around the budget, so we're not sure if we will be able to apply for the implementation grant in May for lack of funding if they don't present it. But we want to be prepared, and one of the things that is needed when you go into implementation is that you need to have had a previous understanding of a community needs assessment. The concept behind community schools is making the school a hub and providing those resources that the community needs, and it can vary from site to site. for the students and for the families. And so with this collaborative, what we would like to do, and this came out of actually the Learner Center collaborative that we were part of, is they will be able to be a third party that goes out and gathers information from the community based on needs. There'll be focus groups, and that will be their job. They will provide us a report afterwards that'll give us an understanding. They'll speak to many of our educational partners, our communities, our teachers, our CSEA staff, businesses, that they will canvas as much as possible. And even if we aren't able to apply for an implementation grant, we believe that the information we'll gain from that will be very helpful in our current grant as well as our LCAP process moving forward.
Trustee Benford Castaneda.
Thank you. So this information, we can gather it and it won't become old data. We can just go ahead and carry it over. Is that going to be something that we can go ahead and utilize? Being that it's third party, is that going to be?
When they're going out and speaking to the community, I think the benefit of it being third party is that they'll be able to hear around the priorities around, there's a framework for community schools from the state of California, and they'll be able to hear directly from the community with respect to that. And I think, being that will be their job, they'll be able to collect the data without bias.
That's actually probably like the very good information. It makes more sense so that there's no influence, there's no, like you said, no bias. And that way, they don't have any stake in the game kind of thing. And therefore we would be able to continue or have that information stored and then and be able to collect it and continue that information going forward.
Yeah, anything they collect, and part of the contract is the data sharing, it's ours. So they're providing a service, but all the data they collect. They'll start working, but one of the other benefits that come out is that they do have psychometrics teams. And so as themes emerge from the community collection, we'll be able to develop instruments to measure effectiveness. And I think that's a critical piece because there will be some things that we'll be able to measure, such as, academic, or, how many people are present. But there are other things that are underlying components that I think community schools provide benefits that we would want to measure, such as, engagement with the community at a higher level. Things that are, will often get overlooked in the process. And I did ask them to look at that because that's kind of the driving force behind the community schools grant is if we close the opportunity gap, what might happen, what is possible. And so I'd like to be able to capture that and possibly, be able to use it. And they'll be going to the different schools. So it's another thing is we'll see the variances within our own communities at each of the schools.
Is there anything else that they can collect since we're already having them canvas? Since we're already, not to necessarily double dip, but kind of double dip. Yeah. So that way we already paid for a service that we can maybe ask them to do, because it's a service that we're already paying for and it's very expensive for them to do. And then to see if we can, what would they like to see in the current schools that are already in existence,
I think actually, I think it would be an evolutionary kind of canvas. I think we can talk to the board and get ideas and then develop more questions and more orientations. And, pretty much it's really to hear the voice of as many community members as possible. Everyone that, centers itself around National City and our kids. And so, yes, I'm sure you'll be part of the group that will do that, and then we'll hear the reflections in the presentation. And we know that the state stopped giving these planning grant awards, and you only have an amount of time to expense it. So We thought this would be an opportune time to start gathering that, and fingers crossed we'll be able to get the implementation grant. There is leftover in the planning grant, and that would be saved for gathering the steering committee that would develop and then write proposals for the implementation grant after that.
I'm never doing third party that way. It's such a clean process and there's no influence, there's no bias, and nobody can say that we had any, we didn't do it with clean hands, basically, so that way we can make sure that, we are doing right by our kids in our community, so.
Thank you.
Trustee Gisela.
One question. I know this is gonna be managed by UCSD as a research project, but are they gonna be able to present results to us?
Yes, I did ask them to do that.
Because this is gonna be one year, right? It's gonna be
Um,
1 year under assessment and canvassing and all the results will be.
Yes, and I think, if the board chooses, with the board's will, if you choose tonight to agree to that, then we would come down and we could have them come every quarter, kind of flesh out the details, it's summer. So, but I think they could probably start getting into the community. Kids, but we'll have to wait till the kids come back, but I think kids' voices are important also.
Sure.
And so that is gonna be the bulk of it, and they can present it, just what they're hearing, and then probably put it all together and give suggestions for findings. That's how I'm thinking that it would operate.
Okay. All right, thank you.
That's my
Okay, so, in the asking, the parameters for who we will be asking, how widespread are you hoping to make this? Because if it is truly a community, community-fed, community-led, then, and how, like, who and how are we effectively reaching to everyone here? A, and B, how are we going to know that we've met an appropriate threshold of receiving information back from each group? And C, what all groups are you looking at? A. That's just my first question.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I did, when in our discussions, I asked for a mass canvassing. It would be, multifaceted emails or going to community organizations, really to get the pulse, even outside of the school, of the community, because we've already experienced that. We know that we're not separate from the city, and that this is the city that our kids live in. So they've already started speaking about some of the focus groups they would start with in terms of just partnerships with agencies here, working with some of the partnerships that we already have, and the true community schools forms. B was
You had to say it. Justin, play that back.
yeah.
So, well, I was trying, and so the who we're asking. And I know we specified, how will you know if you hit a threshold? Yes.
I believe, they probably, in my statistical mind, I don't know the answer, but I'm thinking statistically, they are probably going to have to determine a sample size with demographics around that. And once they hit that threshold, they'll know that, that is going to be significant, in terms of that, even if you got 100 more, it would still fall in that pattern. So, like I said, they'll have psychometrics, and I'm assuming that's what they would be doing, and I think they'll be doing it in terms of demographics, with each of the sample groups, young, seasoned, new, transient, that type of situation. And then C, I think that it's important that they, and this would be part of the input, that they speak to all individuals. They'll be speaking to teachers, they'll be speaking to our classified staff, they'll be speaking to, where kids go and get soda and khakis, I think everyone that is a part of the community and supports them to hear what those themes are that are emerging. So it's going to be, it's going to be a mixed methods approach. I'm sure they'll gather surveys and stuff, But I know that there'll be a lot of personal conversations that they'll be having with people, and from that, themes will emerge. And then I would honestly ask them at that point how to weight it. I think that'll be important too. There could be 500 things that come out at each of the schools, but how do we weight it? What is it that we look at in terms of impact of service? And I think these would be things that they'll be developing, and you can ask them to present that if the board would like prior to their starting.
Because Trustee Van, this is a piggyback a little bit on Trustee Van Castaneda's question. You had, because on the one hand, we need to stick within the parameters of the grant for what we are surveying. But, I have wondered this in general as I've learned and heard more about community schools. Very often when we say, okay, let's do a survey, and the first part of it is, okay, we need this, we need this, we need this, we need this. And, but community schools is also supposed to be looking at our community assets, of which we have tons. We have a very involved community who cares about our kids. And one of the things I have wondered is how we ask the questions that are, and I don't have an answer for this, but it's one of my wonderings. How do we ask the questions that don't just come back with a list of needs that are necessarily school related or assets that are school related? Because there's so many other things that affect our kids' lives. Just today I'm out, I heard a whole bunch of kids running by my house. They're just, and it's their day of school, well, being out, they were all excited running down the street. And, you see that, and for some people, back in the day, there should be a program. Well, no, actually, it can be one of the healthiest things that the kids feel safe in our community to be running around outside once school is, out. That actually is a thing. So how will we develop the survey in an effective way to not just look at, well, the school could do this thing, because it's supposed to be about our students' needs and our families and our families' needs, and the way that the schools that have so much touch in those kids' lives could help relay what the community already has into the lives of those kids. And so how do I the questioning, I just don't know how to do that well, because the point is not a laundry list of things. The point is for us to be truly considering what makes a difference. So that doesn't necessarily, I'm not necessarily looking for an answer. Thank you. I appreciate that you mentioned a steering committee, because we are going to need community, we're going to need businesses, we're going to need student feedback, we're going to need parents and families, we're going to need our labor partners, all of those pieces involved there. But I guess one of my other questions, and who's receiving who will be receiving the information? Because I've just been reminded again this week that the things that are in each of your laps are very big things all the time. So whether it is the budget and reminding us of it all the time, because we need to know that, and keeping up on the changes, whether it is the fact that we just finished and you have a whopping 5 weeks to get any open positions filled. I honor and respect that. You rock on. The LCAP and budgets and teacher placement, and Dr. Brady making sure that all of it runs smoothly. You already have a ton. So back to my question. Who will receive and process the information? Who, not just the company, because we know that they can filter and everything, but considering us, who here is going to receive that information?
Right now, I have Ms. Castaneda overseeing our community school, this I can't answer, our community schools grant with National. And so she would be the point person. And she's already been in discussion with me in hearing these options. And it will help drive the partnership that we have. But ultimately, it is something that we want everyone to have that information. Yes, the steering committee, the board, I mean, we would like to have it public knowledge because this is about community and everyone in the community should know, should hear, should reflect, get input. Because the resources that, should we get the grant from the state, it's not, an overwhelming amount of money, but what it is it allows us to align systems or services or things, whatever it can be, to serve the needs, and it goes down to the school, because there can be distinctions between school to school and the community needs. And so being able to have that type of information, and we get the grant, there can be components of the grant that would serve that, but it doesn't preclude us from using that information to drive our LCAP work, to drive, decisions at the school when they make, in fact, I was just reading surveys from the parents that they may decide to provide, festivals at 5 o'clock instead of 4 o'clock. I mean, it could be little nuanced things, but those things matter because having engagement in your student's life, in your child's life, while they're in school or they spend both of the day, we know has something to do with that. So it's good.
Dr. Brady.
Yeah, as I was talking to Dr. Kraft earlier and listening to the questions, I think the reason why all of the planning grant is not being used allows for the digging in of that data. So the first layer would be collecting and kind of hearing that as it filters through. And if there's a glaring need, for example, in the data, I'm just making this up, that we heard a lot about Kimball today, that Kimball School is the place where we really need to have a community schools approach. And there's another school, biggest school, Las Palmas is the other school. Then we may say, well, let's put a steering committee together that's made up of community members from those two schools, and let's write the community schools grant for those two schools. Is that how that might work? So I think it's early to say who might get that data, but we do have money set aside in the planning grant to continue the work with the right people once we get the initial data set.
Any other questions? Any other input? Okay, I have a motion to approve by trustee Sarmiento, a second by trustee Avalos for contract 4183. Please vote. Item 11 is human resources. 11A, to approve the job description for Executive Director of Information Technology Services. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Okay. Dr. Kevin?
This is to approve the new job description for Executive Director of Information Technology Services, which falls under Educational Services. So Dr. Kraft is going to just give us a brief overview of the need for this position.
Thank you. At a previous board meeting, we had brought the job description forward for review, and then we were asked to bring it back to explain a little bit more about why we need the shift for the transfiguring of or transformation of our technology team. So I'm just going to touch some highlighted points that are kind of driving the need for a restructure. So our current structure was born probably several decades ago, a couple decades ago, and it served our purpose in that era. It was really, if you look at the structure and look at the evolution of education, once upon a time we had computer labs, right? Once upon a time it was the most challenging piece of technology was connectivity, having wireless. Once upon a time, you had dial-up. And so there's been an evolution of technology in education that has influenced, as you just heard Mr. Finch up here, some of the shifts in the work around it. So originally, when we had started and when I came in, we had an educational technology director of literacies, educational technology, and innovation. And under her was our technology service supervisor, and just to the other end was our database analyst. And then we had our computer systems technician. There was a lot more hands-on work, a lot more putting devices in places. And so that did exist in our educational system for quite a while, but I wanted to talk about that schools are not silos, and we are not, especially when it comes to technology, we, like every other industry, start to adapt and move in that direction. So kind of taking a little step back is just looking at the technology shifts that have happened over the last few decades, thinking about what has actually become a reality for us. And as you can see, as you get closer to this time frame, you're starting to see that technology and innovation is not only happening in more complex ways, it's happening faster. And right now, you saw in 2010, and it's hard to believe, the first iPad was given. And now, from 2011 to present, we've been dominated by concepts of social media. Big data is huge. AI is here, has been for a while, and I think the mass implementation of it, we're right on the cusp of it. And so that's what's happening in the world of innovation of technology. So technology departments have to shift to the purpose. And so where once we were looking at dial-up, or we were putting things up on the wall so that we had Wi-Fi, we still need that. That's not a problem. Now we're starting to see refinement around that work. And so you have like operational technology, and what's really growing, information technology. And you'll see that as you see that the age of the world and things that have been happening, we've been told we're in an information age, but I beg to differ. I think we're slightly moved from it. I think the information age and what's going on with big data has already become, and it's very ingrained in our world. And again, in education, we're not far from it. So the other thing that we think about in technology that I think is very important is how quickly things change and become. And when I talk about becoming, it just is. Can you remember a time where you didn't really, have a cell phone? What did you do? How did you drive anywhere? I'm just speaking for myself. And, and the evolution of when it's become mass used is very significant when we think about what we're dealing with in the school system with and the individuals that this is their reality. So it took 70 years for mass usage for an airplane. 70 years, that's a long time. And then you go in the middle, and the iPod, which, we thought was revolutionary, it took 3 years for everyone to get an iPod and make it normal, and that you just always did. But go a little bit closer, Facebook, 2 years, and it was in mass usage, 2 years. Go Twitter, again, social media, 9 months before everyone was tweeting. And now they're not tweeting anymore. That's been replaced like that. And then, if you really want to look, Pokemon Go, 19 days before mass usage. That's the world that our tech team works in. Change is the very essence of it. It is dynamic, it is innovating and exciting, but it's also needs a support behind it because it is integrated in everything we do. Once we were talking about computer labs, now we're streaming our board meetings. Our phone systems are technology based. We're looking at keyless remotes. When you go to hotels, you got a card and you get in. In educational services technology, we just approved educating our children with cutting edge software that can change every 3 years is the norm, and maybe might be faster. And so knowing all those pieces, we want to make sure that we're aligned to that, because one of the key pieces that comes out of it being integrated is the information it contains. And so when we think about what type of information, what kind of data is being provided, accessible, interchanged on this, in cyber world, we need to make sure that we have a structure that is protective of it. And so today we'll see, we have brought the job description back, but we've actually changed it to an executive director of IT. And the reason being is you've seen the change of technology so quickly. We want to make sure that we're able to recruit the best. And technology is a crossover, right? It's a crossover job. There will be people that are in certificated of the world, they're teachers, they fall in love with technology and they move in that direction. And then there are individuals who go to school to become information scientists and they come in as classified. Both those individuals are merging in this world, and they both bring a wealth of understanding. So we could be attracting a current director who has an educational background, who comes from the educational side, but fell in love with the technology piece. So we want to make sure that we can recruit the best. And with an executive director, it falls in the uniform salary of a regular director, a certificated director. So it allows us to access both of those groups, which would benefit us in either way, depending on who the individuals are. The other thing that came about with this structure is that information piece. We had a database analyst, brilliant, wonderful, miss him, but his job got bigger and bigger and bigger because big data is here. And so that is a reality currently, and the demands of technology is processing that information, doing those reporting, bringing all those reports out. In fact, I remember calling Mr. Finch and asking him to look at logs of, who is in our internet. It's that type of situation in this other world that we're going to want to see. And that's actually over in the network administration piece. And these two must work together. And so having a systems program analyst and a network administration individual with that to oversee what we currently are doing in technology, what is our purpose in technology, and then moving into our computer systems analyst. There'll still be some hands-on components to it, but it's different. It's different, and it'll continue to evolve, and probably faster than we can keep up, but we're going to do our best to do that. And so that is the driving purpose around what we're looking at, so that we can really focus on all aspects of what the needs are. And so we want to make sure that all aspects of technology can be addressed by this individual. We also want to make sure that we have an individual that understands the nuances of cybersecurity. Congress passed an act in 2021 really focused on K-12 because we have a lot of information, our employees, us, our students, and we need to make sure that this information is protected. And so that is another critical component now that we're moving into this AI world, because big data is here and AI is getting smart with it. All you have to do now is Google research around blah, 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 and you will have an AI response. And so the reality of it is here, we want to make sure that we have provisions in place that protect us, but also allow us to use technology in the most effective way, because that's what we're preparing our students for. The world of tomorrow. That is their world. That's no different to them. That just is. That's mass usage. So with that being said, I thank you. And if you have any questions regarding the technology piece, not the HR piece, I'm happy to address that. And I've got Justin right here.
Trustee Nisada.
Thank you, Dr. Kraft, for this reminder about we need to go with the trendy stuff. The needs, right?
Mhm.
So I am aware that the library media specialists are are very into the parents and training them, but this team of people is going to be underseen and
trained by this executive, is gonna be on the lead, and they're gonna go to them, and he's gonna oversee the needs and probably assess needs for that specific group of media specialists. You know, they're helping parents too,
Yeah,
and just to comply with that, so this leadership position will be overseeing that needs and generate more, I don't know, maybe needs, and we can address it too.
no, you're right, and that was one of the things that we did discover is that not only do we want our tech people to always be on the cutting edge, they gotta teach us. And so training is an important part, and in the different aspects. And so I'm not gonna pretend like I can speak Justin's language, but let's pretend there was some kind of infrastructure piece that was happening and network administration piece that we would have to be, you know, all trained of and aware so that we would prevent maybe a malware attack or access inadvertently. We need to be trained on that. And we haven't had that. And so, yes, that would be something. And like the library media tech right now, they're doing a lot of check-in and check-out. But as they start living components of their job description and the media part becomes more and more prevalent, that would be something that's beneficial. We currently get that with our county librarian, but it'd be lovely to have our in-house people with our own resources for them to have available.
All right, thank you.
Trustee Avalos?
It's great information. I really like what she said today. Will we be able to have copies of this?
I
She says yes.
yes.
Oh, good, thank you. It is good information, thank you.
Trustee Sarmiento?
Thank you. I'm glad to see, in the updated job description, I'm glad to see that not only did you cover the essential job functions, but the knowledge and/or abilities, including strong network understanding, administration skills, and also the different programs that you have shared in there. Hopefully we'll get somebody who's very competent and qualified. This is something that's been a long time coming. You know, I know that we've kind of been a little bit behind in our dealings with the IT department. When we first started out, it was a big deal. We had the greatest of everything, and people would come around to see it because it was so impressive. And then I think they kind of fell by the wayside, and now we need to be up to speed on it. So I'm glad to see this. Also, typically when we approve a job description, it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to run out and fill it. But what are the plans for this one?
I think that would be something that Dr. Keppen would answer, but I wanted to say the other piece is that our tech team has evolved with it, but our structure hasn't. And so, you know, sometimes they're doing things that because they love our district and they love, you know, making sure we're all there, they will do things that aren't inherently built into their current job description. And so doing this restructuring would honor their expertise and honor their work, you know, as they intuitively have that. It's not something I have where they would look at a network structure and be like, this is how we should do it. And they've done it, they've taught themselves, and they've evolved, and they've done their own certifications. But I think it's been hard within the parameters of a structure that hasn't allowed them to grow. And so I'm hoping that, you know, our new structure will let them spread their wings a little bit more. And then Dr. Keppen,
We haven't discussed a specific posting date, but we are looking to fill it for the 24-25 school year.
Just, Dr. Brady?
I would just wanted to add, as the board recalls, we never did fill Dr. O'Connor's position for the levy. So that's been on hold during this reimagining. So that position, if we refill it, it's not a new position on the budget. It's a replacement for a position we used to have.
and also with the database analyst, I think that was Oscar's job.
Yeah, so one more question.
Oh.
You brought up the database analyst. I remember talking to his brother a while back, and he was saying that now Ricky's doing it now. It was Oscar, right? But is Ricky up to speed? Are we having issues with Because I know he was struggling. Oscar was telling me that he had a lot to learn and he was gonna wanna do something like that.
Oh, he does have the information science background. That was his undergraduate, and he's amazing. But again, it's the structure. Once upon a time, you only needed one person in that job. And the data analyst and reporting, as you saw, there's the lead, and then there's another one, because there's a lot of data. You think of every program that our kids access, that goes through a data warehouse, and that has to interface with talk to their system, and then their system has to talk to our system, and any data that's collected in there has to go into our reporting systems, which we have another reporting system, and that's them doing that. And one little wrong script or, direction on something can hold us up. And so, if that job has definitely grown to demand, I think, 2 individuals to do it. But, again, our tech team is amazing. I don't think I've never heard the word no come out of that man's mouth. And it's always about making sure the
That's
kids are
why he
right.
was our employee of the month last month.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Oh, he's our classified employee of the year, right?
Oh, the
Yeah.
year, whoopsie.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
year.
yeah. So,
Yeah, he's definitely good at what he does. Is he working with his job description? Because I know he wasn't.
He's,
He's been working out with us, so if you go back to the structure, our structure, computer systems technician, we have 2, and Ricky is one of them. He's working out of class in the database analyst on the right side.
Oh, so how long have you been doing that? Do we have to make him whole or?
Yeah, we've worked some things out with our union on that.
Yeah.
Good. Well, and I thought that I would, as you were mentioning some of the things that we hold for people. I was trying to think of the things that I have seen, that we hold like, for a student. And so some of the list I came up with, yes, of course, we have their academic history and grades and attendance. We also have their medications and any medical needs. We have their shot records. We have any IEPs or information regarding any diagnoses that doctors have given and or that are educational diagnoses. We have records of their discipline. We have records of restraining orders within the family. We have their housing, their addresses, their phone numbers. We have a list of their relatives. Like, that's just what I could think of in approximately 30 seconds, a mass amount of information. And that's before we talk about the apps that we use and the sites that we have and all of those things. And like I said, Mr. Finch, I don't remember how long I've known you, but we only started talking hotspots 5 years ago, really. And now that's normal language all the time. And we mass sent them out to kids.
Mhm.
And,
that was a day.
exactly. But, I was 18 when I used my first computer, because frankly, I'm getting old. And our kids it's a constant for them, and the change that's happening is I don't know how we keep up and stay on top of it. And so, I appreciate that we are taking the time that we have taken the time to step back, take a look at what we're doing, identify what we're doing well, name what we could do better, and that we're being intentional about. So, Trustee Sarmiento, one more thought from you, or however many you want.
You triggered my memory too. I had read somewhere that some school districts were deleting students' social security numbers because we don't need them. Is that something that we might be doing? I agree, there's a lot of confidential information on there, and if we ever get hacked, like you talked about, the cybersecurity, that's the cybersecurity that, is that something that we should look at?
I know California gives a student ID number. I'm not sure, I'm thinking of the registration process. I don't think we don't collect that.
We don't collect the social security numbers.
But they do have a student ID from the state of California. Yeah.
And that's not something someone could use, right? If they were to hack and get into our system, they would know what to do with it, right? But a social security number, they could get their identity and run with it.
Yeah, you know, I witnessed when I'd actually been on a trip in 2018, I was in Asia, and I witnessed an action with the dark web, and I don't think that way, but I wouldn't put it past them what could be happening, you know, and so I think there is, you know, again, simply, you know, parents, I mean, just for many safety reasons, you know, you could go on for multiple layers. I think the most important piece that we can, you know, say is that our tech team has done the best they could do with the structure that we have. And I think they've been a collaborative member of developing this piece, but it doesn't stop here. We would have to continue to grow. We'd have to be critical about it because we're not the only industry where we're open for it.
Agreed. Yeah, I would like to see the social security numbers removed for those reasons.
I know that's not part of the packet that you ask us to bring in, like we don't bring in our students' social security cards for you to make copies of.
Mhm.
But I don't know.
But isn't it on the kindergarten registration?
I don't believe we collect that.
No.
They get assigned a California
So
state
they're not in the
ID.
system then?
No, but again, you know,
I do recall when I did sign up my children, they did have a field for it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't,
mandatory.
I never used to fill it out because it wasn't something that I felt comfortable completing.
Mhm.
So maybe that's something we evaluate.
And I will say for students, we don't collect that information, but for employees, we
Yeah.
do.
That's who I was.
Yeah, especially when you're filling out your W-2 form.
Yeah, you got,
Yeah.
that's all I have, thank you.
Other thoughts, questions? All right,
Thank you.
so I have a motion to approve by trustee Sarmiento for the job description for Executive Director of Information Technology Services, and a second by trustee Avalos. Please vote. All right, item 11B is to authorize the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources to hire temporary employees. Do I have a motion to approve?
Second the motion?
Okay, Dr. Kevin.
We've had this request before. We had it last year. And it's really just to authorize the ability to hire someone as soon as they clear, and before they get board approved. So what we do typically is when somebody clears, they have to wait until the next board meeting. So for example, if somebody clears this week, the next board meeting will be July 17th. And so they could start the day after. So this would allow us to have 10 teachers, 10 temporary teachers where we could hire, and they could start right away before the next board meeting.
So just to be clear, we've done this always in the past, or not always, we've been doing this in the past, but somebody keeps track. So you'll,
We do one at 10, 2 of 10.
okay, so I just want to make sure that we are continuing to keep track of that.
Yeah, one advantage too to this is that if I'm a teacher in another district and I get hired in National School District, and I want to start sooner, I have to get paid as a substitute instead of my daily rate that I would be earning in my other district. So a lot of times they don't want to leave right away because they could stay on over there until the board meeting and then start. So this just allows them that confidence to come over and begin.
This is temporary classroom teachers.
Any other questions? All right, I have a motion to authorize by trustee Bencourt Castaneda, a second by trustee Lizarraga. Please vote. All right, item 12 is business services. Item 12A has been pulled. Item 12B is to approve purchase of a 3-year organizational subscription to the California Association of School Business Officials. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Dr. Burke?
Yes, we have a institutional membership to CASBO that began earlier this school year. It's been very helpful in navigating all different types of situations related to school business, from transportation to food services and everything else, including fiscal services and maintenance and operations. All departments have engaged in that at some level, and they offer professional development training and are a great resource for our district. It is the premier business association in the state for school business.
Do I have any questions? All right, then I have a motion to approve by trustee Bettencourt Castaneda and a second by trustee Avalos. Please vote. Item 12C is to approve CT 4188 for the City of National City for transportation services. Do I have a motion?
So move with discussion.
Okay. Trustee Sarmiento, would you like to ask questions first or hear first?
Here. Someone give a presentation. Oh, wait.
I don't know. Okay, I just want to make sure. Dr. Burke.
Just that this is a potential agreement between the City of National City Community Service Department and ourselves to help with transportation to events that they are trying to transport teens and other community members, children to, as you know, as a community service. So we, aren't looking to make money on this operation. It's really about using our opportunity, the buses that we have, the employees that we have, getting compensated appropriately so that it covers our costs without costing the city anything and enhances the life of our citizenry. I believe we probably have some partners here from the Community Service Department who might be able to expand on it more if need be.
Go to the 2020. Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask about. Just like we bring on their police officers to help us out and cover our schools, they're needing our transportation services. So does this mean that our transportation, for example, our bus drivers are going to be paid overtime if they're putting in extra hours and they're going to be compensated accordingly? Because you're right, we don't want to make a profit off of anyone, but we do need to make sure that our expenses are covered.
Yes, and the full coverage, the amount that we would be charging would cover all those ancillary charges like benefits and things like that are behind the scenes, not just the straight hourly rate of an employee. But no employee would be incurring, overtime that would impact us. It would again be paid for by the contract that we would agree to, and national school district priorities and needs always come first. So this would be, augmenting opportunities that do not impact us negatively during our workday school day.
Go ahead.
Okay. Juanita Castañeda, I'm a recreation supervisor with Community Services Department. I'm here with my partner in crime, Eliana Delgado. Together and with collaboration of the police department, we wanted to develop a diversion program for youth at risk within the community. So we came up with NCT nights, which would be every Friday, starting this Friday, June 14th, and then the next following 5 Fridays after that. And we would do rec activities at multiple parks and recreation centers, but we also wanted to take them out of the city a little bit and explore a little. So we would take them out to 2 different locations. The hours, again, they're Fridays, and then the hours are 4 to 8:30. Make sure that they come back to MLK and get picked up by parents.
So it'd be weekend days?
It would be every Friday. Mm-hmm.
So what activities are you guys taking them to?
We will be taking them to Mission Bay to do a bonfire with them and then play volleyball and flag football. And we will have at least 4 officers on site at all time with us to create that mentorship with CPD. And of course, our team rec leaders, at least 6 of them, to make sure that we have eyes on all of them at all times. And then the other field trip would be to the bowling alley. We're hoping to be able to attend to the one in National City that will be opening here soon in Plaza Bonita.
Yeah. And I just wanted to add that a lot of our recreation leaders are a product of the National School District and Sweetwater High School.
What school?
I went to Ira Harbison.
So you currently, I see on the agenda, you have only 2 scheduled. Is that something you guys are wishing to expand upon, or is that just something that you guys are kind of set to?
So for this program itself, yes, just those 2. And then the other 4 nights would be, like I said, at local parks and recreation centers. We'll continue to offer super fun activities for the teens and something that they're interested in participating in. But in the future, we would like to expand our programming. Eliana has a program at Casa de Salud, and our kids have been taking the public transportation. For example, today we went to the baseball game with them in our trolley, 30 kids, which is, public transportation is amazing, but sometimes supervising 30 kids in the trolley could be a handful. So we're hoping that we can continue this relationship with the school district as well.
That was my next question. How many students or how many kids do you have? And that's 30 kids is a lot.
Yes, so for her program, 8 to 17 years old at Casa de Salud, she has 30 kids, and they're full capacity. With our NCT nights, we didn't set a limit. We're welcoming any team that wants to participate. Unfortunately, for the field trip, we would set a limit for 40 kids because we're only taking 1 bus. But any other night, any other of the 4 nights, we'll take as many kids that want to participate at the park. We're going to take them to the Las Palmas pool. So we'll take as many kids as they want to participate.
And how would they be able to get in touch with you guys as a program?
So we've been promoting on social media. We've been passing out flyers during graduations and so on. So, and they can always reach out to us via our website or email or phone number. But we've been promoting on social media, and we will continue to promote every week of the following Friday where we will be located. So
we have this live stream, so if you'd like to share it, because we probably have families watching.
Yeah, so this Friday, we're going to be at Kimball Park, and just come to the whole area. We'll be there. You'll see us. The following Friday, we will be at Camacho, including Las Palmas pool. The following Friday, we meet at MOK, the 3rd Friday, which will be a field trip, Mission Bay. The 4th Friday, once again, at Kimball Park. We're going to be in between the carnival area, but we're going to be there having a great time with the kids. The 4th night, it would be at MOK. Again, we're having a team dance. We're going to bring an amazing DJ, and we're going to have a photo booth for the kids. And we want to open the dance floor for them and just to enjoy themselves. And then the last Friday, which is July 19, we're going to take them to a bowling alley.
And that information will be shared on the National City website.
It's on the National City website, and it is on our social media, Instagram and Facebook as well.
And that address is, or I don't do social media, so how is that? How do they find that?
In our website,
which is
nationalcityca.gov.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm like,
well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's good information. I thank you for what you guys are doing.
Of course.
That.
Thank you.
Trustee Lusardiga?
Thank you. With these 2 ladies, we wish to be a teenager again.
Yeah. Come and join us.
You can come to the dance.
Yeah.
Okay.
We need chaperones.
Just said it publicly, so I'm happy to be allowed to be there. So I'm so happy to enhance and support this because I know those 2 ladies have an amazing relationship with the police department, and they're really cooperative. I remember they didn't know what to do. I don't know how come the idea. They did a balloon fight on the Casa de Salud. It was amazing to see it. And I was passing by. I wish I can be a child again so I can burst out about a balloon full of water. The police, right? But I'm so happy that you are reached to us, and I will be more than happy to support that. And I know how everything falls in transportation and in food, right? So when there's food and transportation, beautiful thing happens. So I'm happy that you are pushing to us, and we'll be happy to support and the teenagers. And you mentioned a risk, but I think the kids under a risk is how we can better support them to get them out of the risk label that we put them on. So thank you so much for doing this. And at the bottom of my heart to you, like our community stands out. And I'm very proud of you both come on board with those beautiful, amazing ideas and creativity to engage those kids. They pass by my house, and I say their engagement and they're enthusiastic, and they're full of joy when this these activities are there for them. So I wish I can be a teenager again. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you. Just two things I wanted to mention. We are going to provide meals to everyone, and most of our meals are being provided by our nutrition center, our chef. She's amazing. And then also we are going to introduce a little bit of the cadet program to them. So we'll be doing some canine introduction and some cadet, building searches. So something to throw out there just to see if anyone would like to approach that career in the future.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
All right, well, any more questions?
Why do we think of that center?
Well, I have a motion to approve contract 4188, motion by trustee Sarmiento, second by trustee Avalos. Please vote. All right, item 12D is to accept donations. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second the motion.
Hey, Dr. Burke.
Yes, two donations this week. Monica Bonet is a parent at El Toyon and donated through the Costco Workplace Giving Campaign for $94 to El Toyon, and then $250 from California Association of Latino Superintendents and Administrators for the Palmer Way Staff and Student Appreciation. So thank you very much. We appreciate your consideration and donations.
Questions? All right. Motion to accept by trustee Betancourt Castaneda, second by trustee Avalos. Please vote. All right, well, that is the business portion of our meeting. And now item 13 is board cabinet communications. Trustee Sarmiento.
Just a couple of things. I was pleased to attend the Rancho's promotional exercises, and this is the first time I've been at one indoors. Man, that was nice. Not freezing or else not being beat on by the sun. But it was a very nice promotional exercise, and talking with Ms. Condon, or call it? Condon. I knew I'd get that wrong, sorry. I told her, I said, how long have you been here? A year, 2 years? And she goes, well, since November. And oh my God, she has such a professional demeanor. I was very impressed by her, and you could tell the kids loved her. In a short period of time that she's been there, the parents felt comfortable with her, and I thought she did a really good job. We won't say anything about her forgetting her speech, but she did an excellent job in running that. And she told me, she says, well, I put on a few of these over the years, so she obviously knows what she's doing. Also, I want to thank Steven Sanchez for Taco Thursday. It was wonderful. It should have been better attended, but man, that was great.
Trustee Avalos.
Well, I want to say that I did attend Mary Stewart's services. I was a teacher here for 32 years. It was packed. It was full. It was in Pine Valley. I kept driving and I'm thinking, where am I going? I kept following the GPS technology. I would have known where to go if I hadn't followed GPS. But I was happy to see that her students were there, how much they loved her, and they cried as they spoke about her. And also Superintendent Brady for being there and representing our district, as well as other educators who were there, who've known her for years, parents that were there. It was very well received by everyone. I didn't realize that she only had one daughter, 17 years old, which is so young at any age. She was a mom. Her father did a great job in speaking and letting us know about her and all of her little ins and outs and what she liked and what she didn't like and how she spoke it and how she said it and how she didn't say it. Which I thought was great because it was nice, and I'm really glad that I was able to go and attend and pay my respects. I want to welcome our new employees, and also it was nice to see our educators that were, and also to the Puerto Lopez, who was here receiving awards, the 5 babies. And the thing is, I thought that was great is that they all taught here. I know when I first became a board member, it was Puerto Lopez when I first went to my first CSBA conference. She showed me around and told me what to do, and she kind of mentored me a little bit, which I thought was great, because when you first go there, you're kind of lost, even though everybody else is their first time there. So I want to thank you for helping me at that time. And Kabi, for all the work that you do, which is part of, for our National City children, I can see that it really comes from the heart, and not just because they're doing something. It means a lot to them to do that. Great information from you wonderful ladies, for our young women, I should say, for our going to have our children have so many things and things to be able to go to where their parents can drop them off and pick them up, and they're going to be very well supervised. I know that for many, many years, even when I was in grammar school and elementary and in high school, I had never gone to the beach until I was much older, probably in my 20s. And now they're going to have an opportunity to go and have a bonfire and do all that, which is great. Of course, I was here during the time when we did have our bowling alley in National City. That I was here. Yeah, we had 2 bowling alleys, and where the we have apartments there, townhomes, and across the street from the townhomes was the car wash. And so thank you so much for all the work you're going to do for our children. Thank you. Thank you. Hope maybe one day I'll be able to go and help you with them and see how happy they are and stuff. Yeah. Thank you again. Thank you, everybody here. No birthdays this week? This month? Okay, you're all young then. Okay. You can stay young for another month. Thanks. Bye.
Trustee Bettencourt Castaneda.
Thank you. Wanted to first congratulate Justin for your recognition this evening. Very much well deserved. I wanted to also welcome our new employees. Unfortunately, they weren't able to make it, but congratulations, and hopefully we will see you around. And welcome to our NSD family. Wanted to thank our CABE recipients of their awards this evening. Like I mentioned earlier, they do a lot of work for our students. It's a lot of work behind the scenes that we don't see, but they definitely put on a lot of workshops for not just our parents, but our students, our administrators. And as previously mentioned, if you have not attended, it's definitely very informative, but also that breakfast that was previously mentioned, hopefully they do bring it back. It is amazing to see the students that are recognized, but also those seniors that are recognized that do speak, and they do have their presentations. It's very encouraging. So hopefully we will be have an opportunity to attend one of these years. They'll hopefully bring it back this year or the next year, so that way we can attend. Let's see. I was able to attend Kimball Otis and Central's promotion. I wasn't fortunate enough to be indoors, so it was a little breezy at a couple of them, drizzly at one. So, but it was very nice to be able to see our students promote. They were very happy. Their parents were elated to see their smiley faces of their children, and very, very proud of their students. I was able to also attend the mariachi performance. I think that one of our students is going to definitely make it big. I don't know if anybody has that opportunity. I don't know what school she's from. She is not just, I don't remember what school. She is not just a singer, but she's a performer. And it's just amazing. She's got that stage presence, and it's just amazing. When it was last year, she was just practicing, and everybody thought it was the actual performance. And then this year, everybody was ready for her to perform. So it was just an amazing thing. Wanted to congratulate our Sioux High grads that I was able to attend. Obviously, those were our students in, at one time, so wanted to congratulate all those graduates. Unfortunately, I was not able to make it to Ms. Stewart's services. I had a migraine, so I was not able to drive all the way up there. She was at my home school and which I knew her for many years, but it sounds like we had representation from the district. And my condolences to the Alvarado family for the loss of Alvarado. And as a Lion, had a lot of time spent with him within the club. So my heart goes out to all of them. Thank you to the two ladies for being here and all that you do. I know that it's a lot of work, but it's very meaningful work. So it is very much thank you for that. Want to also congratulate my son for his graduation and also his attendance and his acceptance to the University of Oregon. Didn't want to, he will be a duck. Didn't want to jinx it. So as he will have to be attending, which means he will have to be leaving, and you know what that will do to me. So pray for me because it will be very difficult. So if you see me kind of in a fog, you will know why. So with that, I wanted to wish everybody, all those fathers out there, happy Father's Day. To my father and also my husband. A very happy Father's Day. He's an amazing father to my boys, and wish everybody a wonderful night.
Trustee Rosado.
Well, thank you for the opportunity to say good night to everyone, but I would like to start congratulating Justin. Again, you might be on the back, but we know that you're there. Thank you, and I'm glad that you were recognized today. Also, I would like to remind everybody that we lost, I was able to attend the Sioux High graduation for class of 2024. It was very touchy, and what took my attention, I would like to highlight that Ms. Insunza, which is the principal, was able to honor the two students that they didn't make it. They were the empty seats, and I'm glad that she was able to honor the families. One is Damien, and I just don't remember the name, but Estrada, and thank you. And the other one was Edgar Tejado, our champion that donated his organs, and it was publicly now. And he unfortunately, he was not using his helmet, and unfortunately, the tragedy happens. But it's just a reminder of whoever commute in the city, being an adult, being a teenager, being a little one, to just use your helmet, and they can save your life. But we don't have to wait until a tragedy like this happens to be mindful of this type of security gadget that we need to use when we bike, because we have a share of the road. And my condolences to the families, and we always support that. And I'm glad that we as a community, we stand out and support the family. And I was able to, speaking of the family, I was able to attend the Lincoln Acres graduation for class 2024. The sixth graders are promoting to middle school, and some of them will go to Granger. And in there was a sister of Edgar Tejado, and we were very see the mom and supporting the sister and having the grievance in there, but she was cheering up for her daughter, and I was able to be there. And congratulations to Miss Daniela Ruiz. And on the opposite, it was outdoors, it was sunny, it was windy, all the balloons were all over the place, but they finally make it. It was very warm welcome that they give to all the family. I can see how Lincoln Acres family is very well maintained, and the connections and the warmth of them. It's a great community on that school. So I was happy to be there. So I would like to also thank you for the CABIB team, and that they were here
when I first started engaging myself into the volunteer schools, I started in Calvary. So I was like, boom, they got the switch on me. It's like, what can I do now? So that's what I'm able to honor and appreciate the bilingual and the support of the any multilingual is the better, but we can start one language at a time, and hopefully we can get that support for this leadership that I think that together the team, I imagine the amount of expertise and the discussions that are there just in support of the children. So thank you for the team. And also, I would like to congratulate Noah Brady for his graduation. And I know that Dr. Brady doesn't say, but he's come back home and he just graduated, which is a great accomplishment. I would like to say congratulations to him. And also welcome to the new employees. And for that being said, have a restful vacation and have a good night.
Dr. Burke?
Yes, a quick thank you again to the Community Services Department. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all you do. And I should have mentioned during that meeting, we do, it's not just the employee, we also consider the wear and tear on the bus. And there's a mileage charge that's factored in, and I should have mentioned that earlier. But I also want to give a quick shout out to the maintenance and operations team. The summer is the time when that team really gets down to it, particularly the custodians and the grounds folks. So it's a key time in the year so that the schools and are ready to go, and students are coming back to places that are prepared and clean and ready and functioning at a high level. So I give a shout out to them. They're already grinding. I've already had evidence of that, and I appreciate it. And thank you for all you do for the students.
Dr. Kevin?
I had the opportunity to go to Palmer Way for promotion ceremony. And I just want to say congratulations to all the sixth graders promoting. They had a beautiful red carpet. And so the kids came out from the cafeteria area multi-purpose room and walked all the way through the red carpet. It was really nice. I want to welcome the new employees, and also thank you, Justin, for all of your hard work. You always have a positive attitude, and it's very great to work with you, so thank you. I want to just say that I was part of the planning committee years ago for the South County CABE mini conference. I was one of the first to start it. And one of our first sessions was at Southwestern College. And I know trying to get a keynote speaker, trying to get presenters, trying to get organizers and volunteers to work with students during the time that parents are in workshops. All of that is a lot of work. And so I'm so glad to see that, some years later, it's still continuing. So congratulations and thank you for continuing that valuable work. I hope everyone's enjoying their summer break. I know it just started and I see some happy faces out there, so I know that people are enjoying that. And then I just want to take the time to thank the HR department, all the principals and their office staff. They're working really hard to help us with staffing and enrollment numbers. So everyone's working hard to ensure that our families are re-enrolling and we have the right staff for the upcoming school year. So thank you.
Dr. Kraft?
I do want to give an update regarding online registration. I did confirm we do not collect social security numbers, so I just wanted to make sure for transparency that was public. I wanted to congratulate the CABE group and Mr. Finch. I thank you very much for all you do. I had the opportunity to go to Central, and it was cold and outdoors, but it was so warmed by the love of the families and the teachers. My cheeks hurt from smiling so much. And congratulations to those sixth graders promoting, and I'm super excited for your next adventure. And it was beautiful to see the amazing Central staff, and it just made me realize as I was listening how amazing all of our staff are, and I'm so grateful and thankful for all that they do for our kids, and I hope that they have a beautiful, hopefully sunny summer.
Dr. Brown?
Well, I actually want to just echo congratulations to all of our sixth graders. I got to go to El Toyon and see their promotion this year. It's excellent. I'm going to miss those sixth graders, especially the ones I got to work with, but we do have thanks to the governing board tonight. One student will get to see one more time in Washington, D.C. as she presents her TED Talk, so thank you for approving that. At the promotion, I also got to see students, our multilingual learners, receive their CABE certificates. So even though they didn't have the breakfast, they did send, any student that was reclassified got a certificate and honored at their promotion. So just that honoring is really important. We appreciate that. Congratulations, Justin. Thank you to our partnership with the city. It continues to grow, and we're so glad when we see you. Knowing that even when our students promote from us, that there's great things that are happening both in the Sweetwater School District and in National City. There's a reason why no one leaves National City. It's a very special place to live. Speaking of the mariachi, our students will have an opportunity to perform again this summer at CALSA. It's going to be on Friday, June 28th. And that's the California Association for Latino Superintendents and Administrators. It's the California version of ALAS that's sponsoring the TED Talk trip for our student. And that's going to be at the Wyndham San Diego Bayside. We'll make sure you get the flyer if you want to take some time and go out. It's at 8 a.m. So maybe catch some coffee and treats and our kids performing mariachi. On Friday, I got to host with David Castillo some members from the Sun Safety nonprofit. They'll be giving us $50,000 to provide some solar sun picnic tables at each of our 10 school gardens. And that is going to teach our students the power of the sun, how it can capture the energy, but also provide some ability to plug things out and get some power out into our gardens for the lessons as well. And the only thing they ask is that we share a video that was written and produced by a daughter who lost her grandmother to melanoma. So she wrote a children's book. She has a primary version and upper grade version, and the students will learn about protecting themselves in the sun, and I'll provide some shade as well. So kind of a win-win all the way around, and learn a little bit about sustainability as well. So it was fun to meet them, and we look forward. We're going to do a big ribbon cutting donation when those tables arrive and they're installed. And I know you know a little bit about it from the memo. I'll keep you posted on the date, probably in August sometime, we hope. We also received outreach from Clean Earth for Schools, and they want to donate some no idling signs. And we're going to meet with them next week to get a little more details. They're free, so that's great. So we're going to say yes. But they did mention that we could have student artwork on them. And so we're going to ask if we can have our student artwork on them. And even if it delays installing them, we would really love for it to be representative of our students, and also that they're in English and Spanish, because we know that's important for our community. So we'll be asking that as well. And then with that, I just want to say happy summer and happy Father's Day.
Okay, one more, Justin. We're thankful for you. So, let's see. So I would like to start again with a one more thank you to the Alvarado family. Thank you for your commitment to the community. Thank you for gifting us with Mr. Alvarado, and we weren't with you as you figure out how to be without him. So I was also thank you to the CABE committee. They do wonderful things to encourage English language development, but also honoring having more than one language for our kids as they grow, and that you don't have to get rid of one in order to have the other, that there's beauty in all of it. And actually, those of you who have more than one can get jobs I just can't get, let's be real. There's also the honoring of family, the honoring of heritage, and our world is bigger. So thank you to Kaveh. Thank you for coming tonight. We appreciate your presence here and sharing your vision. And if I got that right, Friday night, 4 o'clock, Kimball Park this week. So if you are what age? 12 to 17-year-old in National City, or you happen to be hanging out with a 12 to 17-year-old and you're also 12 to 17-year-old, show up at Kimball Park on Friday at 4. I had the opportunity to be at Ira Harbison's promotion with Principal Barragan, and my weather was beautiful. I don't know where you all were. But it was a joy to be with the kids. I actually was able to pop into Mrs. Wertz and Mrs. Hernandez classes. And the first thing they did when they were told that I was part of the board was I had hands go up. They wanted to know about uniforms. They wanted to know about bathrooms. They wanted to know about why is there 300 milligrams of sugar in the nutrition bar if we're supposed to be watching nutrition. And I said, just a second. And they were very excited that I got out my phone and started texting as they were giving me things. And so, yes, Dr. Brady, the kids want to know. So thank you to the Wirt and Hernandez classes for making sure I was on my toes. I also got to stop by Las Palmas after that. I got there because I was at Ira's. I got there after the Las Palmas promotion, but it was really beautiful, both places. The families, the staff, whoever was involved in setup had really taken time to honor our kids. And the PTA, whoever, like both places, the organizers, you are so busy on behalf of our children, and I want to make sure we just stop and thank you for the things that you do. Because, first of all, I don't have the skill set to make it look that good. And second of all, it's obvious that your hearts and your commitment to your students, they're just so prevalent because the spaces that you created for them to be honored at both sites, they were beautiful. So thank you to the staff and the PTA and the parents who assisted in making our promotions fantastic. So I have 2 more things. I'll try to be quick. Carissa started 3rd grade in National School District. That was her first year, was as we had moved. And she told me in 3rd grade that she was going to be a doctor. Today was Dr. Gillette's first day of residency. And so Kelly Jordan, Amy Wirt, Sandra Puentes, and no longer with us, Chloe Maurer, thank you for the investment that you made in my child that led her to this today. And my last shout out has to be to Jamie Gates. Thank you for putting me up with me for 32 years tomorrow. And our meeting is adjourned.